Eve's Guide for Regular Guys. Tips and advice on developing confidence, embracing your style, and attracting the love and sex you want. Hi guys, this is Eve. I want to thank you for joining me on this first ever episode of Eve's Guide for Regular Guys. Thank you for all of your submissions on what you'd like to hear on this series. I think this is going to be a fun thing. You'll have to let me know. For now, let me start by clarifying what this series isn't going to be. It isn't going to be about picking up women, okay? Becoming a player, getting stinking rich, or the best way to get a six-pack, or any of those other manly man type things that you've probably seen 1,000 times. It's not going to be about buying expensive clothes or cars or watches or cologne, and there will be no discussion of cufflinks ever. That's my solemn promise to you. No cufflinks. Okay? Neither is it going to be, this is what I find attractive, or these are the men that Eve likes. No, it's about noticing and pointing out some of the obvious areas that regular guys might be overlooking when it comes to everything from personal style to social interaction to just their passions in life. To say that it's just about what personally turns me on is, well, it's off topic, and it's way too narrow a focus for what I hope to achieve with this. This is not about changing you so much that you're unrecognizable. It's not about telling you to lose weight or bulk up, and it's not going to challenge your masculinity and tell you to become an extroverted chick magnet. It's not going to shame you or try to make you feel less than. And it's not going to judge you if you decide to do none of the things that I talk about. This is all up to you. This is for you. I'll likely repeat this before every episode that I do. I want you to listen to this only if this is an area that you think you would like to improve or just know more about. If you don't want to change anything, you don't have to. You're fine the way you are. No one has the right to tell you otherwise. This series is only if you yourself feel motivated to make some changes but don't really know what to do, where to start, that kind of thing. And the reason I want to take this approach is that I know that there isn't a lot out there for what I consider regular guys. Regular is a compliment here, just so you know. Because regular guys are the majority of guys, You come in different shapes and sizes. Some of you are shy, some of you are more extroverted, some of you are quiet, and some are talkative, but most of you are decent, hardworking, nice people. You just want good things in life, like a great relationship and a rewarding job and an enjoyable social life. You're maybe the kind of guy that's more likely to drink Pepsi or beer at a party than mix up a cocktail for everyone, You might enjoy sports or working out, but you probably won't win. Mr. Universe, and that's okay. You like to look decent, but you probably won't be buying any $10,000 suits. You would just like to meet a nice, attractive, sweet woman whom you can love and who will love you back. And you'd like to feel good about yourself. In many ways, I think you want to be the ultimate modern man. Masculine without being brash, strong but sensitive, hardworking and yet able to relax, sexual but loving, confident and happy without being arrogant or greedy. Does that sound about right? Well, it seems right to me. But when I went searching for guidelines or inspiration for this kind of mindset, most of what I found was so off the mark. It was almost laughable. One site I visited listed 15 apps that they claimed every man needs to have. And the apps included things like SAS survival guides, how to grill a steak, how to mix cocktails, how to tie a tie 14 different ways, and even and this was great, a PMS guide to help you navigate your woman's menstrual cycles to steer clear of her rage. I think I can safely say none of you need any of these types of things. No one needs any of these types of things, to be honest. What you need is less of this is manly men territory kind of cliches, and more real insight into what the modern man needs to be his best. Because what I find interesting about these sites and apps and books and stuff is that they're all written by other men. And I would think that a guy would like to know what a woman thinks about him and his style, rather than what other guys think about it. I mean, that's not to say you can't learn something from your peers, of course. I just thought it was odd that so few women ever seem to chime in on what makes men attractive, or what they think men could do to improve their overall charm. And I find it odd that men don't want to hear from women about this, but you guys have told me that you would like to. So I hope in future actually to have some guests join me on this show so that you can hear from other women what they think about this too. So for now, this is my small attempt to give you some female insight. In this series, I hope to cover a broad range of subjects, and I'm a very frank and very bawdy woman, as you know. So please don't be shocked by how frankly I talk about sexuality. Not that you would be. I mean, you know me. Anyway, I hope you'll see this series as kind of a fun project more than anything. Investing in yourself, maybe, is a way to look at it. Making your life and your future a project that you enjoy. But before I get started on this series, let me first begin by establishing a few things with you. Things that I think you need to get straight and be okay with, or at least open to, before you can begin this series or anything like it. Kind of like tilling the soil before you plant. You're going to have to be open to some new ways of thinking about yourself. Maybe some future episodes will be the kind that you can just listen to casually on your commute or whatever, and take or leave the tips and suggestions as you would any other kind of advice or information. But before you get to that point, I want you to promise that you're going to at least try to follow me on this particular path. You know, of course, using your own judgment along the way, but listening to it with an open mind and a willingness to see yourself differently and to try some new things. Okay, so the first thing, and I would say probably the most important thing that I want you to do is this. Be open to the idea that you are an attractive, interesting man capable of finding love and sex. Now, I know this may sound overly simplistic, but an awful lot of people are stuck at this point, and they just can't go any further. They deep down believe this to be true. Maybe this sounds familiar to you. I'm unattractive. I'm not charming enough. I'm awkward with women. I'm doomed to be alone. I feel left out of life. I should just accept that I'll never find love. Or possibly even more damaging pronouncements about your self-worth. Maybe you're feeling guilty over something that you did in the past or didn't do. Maybe you're beating yourself up for a decision you made or didn't make. Maybe your family of origin made you feel bad about yourself. Maybe due to circumstances you are still living with toxic family members who make you feel bad about yourself. I know this might be striking some nerves, and I'm sorry if it is. The last thing I want to do is hurt you. But I also think it's necessary to address this elephant in the room, so to speak. Whatever has caused you to feel unlovable, I want you to start working on getting rid of that feeling. Starting right now. If all you can do right now is listen to this episode, that's fine. That's still progress. But if you can, I want you to look at yourself from the outside, looking in, just for a moment. I want you to not pass judgment on yourself, but I want you to say, here's a guy who needs my help. He needs me to be there for him. He needs some confidence boosting. He needs some support and understanding. He needs a purpose in life. He needs goals. And he needs, more than anything, the unshakable belief that he is worthy of good things. I want you to be your own best friend. I want you to look at yourself and go easy on yourself, the way you would with a close friend who is suffering. I want you to care as much about yourself as you do all the other people in your life. Because here is the most important lesson of this whole series, right here. I mean, you could stop listening after this one if you manage to take this to heart. I hope you don't stop listening, but you could if you simply understood that you have been holding yourself up to some vision of perfection that you think other people have attained and that you haven't or can't. You've been comparing yourself unfavorably to people whom you think are more attractive, fitter, richer, more charming, more successful, when you should have been focusing on yourself instead. If you'd spent half the time you've spent comparing yourself and feeling bad on developing your strengths, and focusing on your pluses and finding your passions in life, you'd be so much happier and so much farther ahead. So the time for feeling bad is over. I'm not saying it'll go away overnight, but I want you to set yourself a new goal. Call it a resolution if you want, based on the time of year. That even if you do nothing else, you will stop allowing yourself to feel undeserving or doomed to loneliness. You may be a work in progress or a diamond in the rough. It may take a little while to change some bad habits or bad ways of thinking about yourself, but fundamentally, you are completely worth the effort. So, do you think you can do that? Starting right now, do you think you can say to yourself, I'm worth the effort? Good. I'm going to assume you said yes. Because, I know there are no guarantees in life for any of us, but the best chance you have at finding the things you want is to live up to your own potential, whatever that is. To be good to yourself, to forgive yourself, to laugh off your mistakes and learn from them, to loosen up, not be so tense and anxious all the time, to relax and just breathe sometimes, to be willing to say, this is me, this is who I am, and I'm going to be really good at it, at being me, right? Okay, I want you to do a little mental exercise with me right now. Maybe you've heard me mention this before on an Under the Covers episode, but it's worth repeating, I think. Right now, I want you to close your eyes and picture every male member of your extended family. Everyone you can think of. And include your friends and coworkers too. I want you to picture each of them clearly in your mind's eye. I want you to focus on a few key things about each of them. Okay? First of all, just answer this question in your own mind. Are they married? Have they been married or in relationships that you know of? Likely the answer for most of them will be yes. Some of them for many years. Some may have been divorced, but on average, most of them have had long-term relationships. Now, I want you to think about what they look like. Are any of them movie star good looking? Or are they pretty much, average? All shapes and sizes. Some may be slightly better looking than others, but probably very few, if any of them, could start modeling tomorrow. They're not going to be in Zoolander 3, Maybe some of them are actually what you might consider unattractive in your own estimation, if you were being honest. But picture them realistically, because in all likelihood, they are all just guys, right? Just guys, just dudes, just regular guys, just like you. Now, take it a step further and think of one characteristic of each of those guys that other people find irritating, weird, frustrating, or even just completely unlikable. Maybe one of them always gets too drunk at family gatherings. Maybe one of them has a really loud, obnoxious laugh that hurts your ears. maybe one of them tells terrible off-color jokes and embarrasses everybody. Or, it could be any number of small little personal character flaws that we all have. Something that really bugs you and bugs most people about this guy. Okay? Can you do that for me? Think about, your weird Uncle Larry and your, you know what I'm saying, right? Go through the list and just think about all those things for just a second. Now, I want you to also think about the career path of each of these guys. Because most of them have probably had several jobs or have gone through periods of unemployment or not knowing what they wanted to do or been in the wrong school program and dropped out, all that kind of thing. And probably none of them are really wealthy. In other words, I want you to think about them as regular guys in every way, just doing their best in life, just trying to do better, just loving their families and generally just being good guys. Even with all their faults, even with all their missteps or mistakes, even without looking like movie stars, they are good, decent men who have people in their lives that love them. They're regular guys, just like you. Now, ask yourself, and be completely rational and honest about this. How is it that you are so fundamentally different from these guys, in your own mind, that you think you can never find a woman, or never get a job, or never make friends? Can you honestly see any significant difference between you and all the other regular guys in your life? If you're being honest, the answer is probably no, you can't see any difference. Maybe you're a little more shy than some people, but I bet a lot of the guys you know could be considered shy. Things like that. These are the things I want you to think about. You are more like them than you are unlike them. You have more in common with them than you think. You are just as flawed, just as imperfect, but just as decent and respectable and lovable. This is what I want you to think about until the next episode. That in spite of whatever flaws you think you have, or actually have, despite how your life history has made you feel, the reality is that there's nothing wrong with you. You are lovable. You are worthy. All types of men are attractive to all types of women, and there's absolutely no reason you can't find someone to love. But only if you love yourself first. I can't stress this strongly enough. Before someone else can love you, you have to love yourself. So start there. Start by accepting who you are, loving yourself, being kind to yourself, and you'll find that this makes you all the more attractive to others, especially women. The woman you want to love wants to love you back. She wants a whole person to love. She wants a guy who cares about himself. She knows that you can't care about her if you don't even care about yourself. I'm going to help you find ways of coming out of your shell, of showing the world who you are a little bit at a time. I'm going to help you love yourself and treat yourself well, present yourself well, and attract good things and people into your life, into your flawed, regular-looking, wonderful, lovable life. As I said, I don't expect it to happen overnight, and neither should you, and I don't expect it to be really easy. But it's very doable, and you're very worth it. So, in this series, I'm going to start with what I consider to be the easy stuff, the simple, outward-facing stuff you can do to become more comfortable in your own skin and present your best self to the world. Starting next episode, I'm going to start with some basic style tips for all shapes and sizes and lifestyles, some ideas about what not to do if you want to look and feel like a more centered person. I think that's the best way to put it. I'll tell you about some websites that I like for this kind of thing, and some other easy stuff to get you thinking about investing in yourself. Nothing dramatic, as I said, nothing that will fundamentally change who you are, just some fun things that you can start to do to make yourself your next big project. So I hope you'll stay with me. As I said, you can always just drop in and check out certain episodes, or you can follow the whole thing. And I certainly want to hear from you. I'd certainly love to hear your comments and questions and anything else you want to send my way. So I hope you keep listening, and thank you for joining me. And until next time, I want you to remember, you are an attractive, interesting person worthy of love, and you're well on the way to finding it. Bye for now.